essentially closed the borders to areas where we had to close them. And we had very few. We took in 32 people over the last 2 days because they were sick and they're Americans and they're people. You know, what are you going to do? They're in quarantine. But we had essentially 12 people. Many of them are getting better now. Soon they'll all be better, we hope. And we're watching very carefully. So we've had a very, very good stretch of, let's just say we're fortunate so far. And we think it's going to remain that way. China's working very, very hard. I've spoken to President Xi, and they're working very hard. And if you know anything about him, I think he'll be in pretty good shape. They've had a rough patch. I think right now they have it. It looks like they're getting it under control more and more. They're getting it more and more under control. So I think that's a problem that's going to go away. But we lost almost 1,000 points yesterday on the market, and that's something, you know, things like that happen where you have it in your business all the time. It had nothing to do with you. It's an outside source that nobody would have ever predicted. If you go back 6 months or 3 months ago, nobody would have ever predicted. But let's see, I think it's going to be under control, and I think I can speak for our country. For our country is under control. But again, we do business with a lot of other countries. We take care. We work with other countries. We want other countries to be happy, healthy, and well. We're going to be happy, healthy, and well. It's very simple. And so let's see how it all works out, but I think it's going to work out. I hope so. We're working very hard. We're spending a tremendous amount of money also on, we just asked for $2.5 billion on getting everything ready just in case something should happen, and also helping other nations that really aren't equipped to do it. So with that, it's an honor to be with you, and if you'd like to ask any questions and find out how much you should invest in the United States of America, I'll tell you exactly where to invest and how to invest. We just did a lot of business with India where they're buying $3 billion worth of helicopters, great helicopter. We have helicopters like, we make the best military equipment in the world by far. And, you know, the Prime Minister actually said if you were president 30 years ago, would have all your equipment. But they started buying many years ago from another nation and others, and now they're starting to buy from us. So that's an honor. But we're up to a pretty high number. We'll be up very quickly to a pretty high number. And we do make by far the best, and they want to have the best. So that's what we do. So thank you all very much. If the press wants to stay for a couple of questions, you know, we're going to be having a news conference at 5 o'clock. So you can go to that, or you can stay and hear some of these questions from truly some of the greatest business leaders anywhere in the world. Now, if you'd like to do, I could do this, Steve. I could read the book for you. And read a full speech, and we'll take 5 minutes, and you'll fall asleep, but they'll be, well, they might find it interesting. I don't know about that. But please, if you have any questions, please. Anybody? Okay, let's go home. We must have done a very good job. You want to say something about the energy business?
Yes, sir.
Please, come on. How we doing?
We're doing great, sir. My name is Dan Bruyette. I have the privilege of serving in the United States and the President as his Secretary of Energy. We've had great conversations here in India with my counterpart, Minister Pradhan. I expect that in the very near future we're going to have some new energy deals and so forth. That noise?
Sounds nice. Sounds like a Trump rally. We're actually saying hello to the embassy people.
Sir, I'll just end with this. In the last 2 years, we've seen a remarkable uptick in the purchases of U.S. oil and gas by India. And when the president was elected in 2017, that number was approximately 25,000 barrels per day of crude oil. It is now over 250,000 barrels per day, a tenfold increase, and we expect it to only get better from here.
It's going up very, very rapidly. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Where is Robert?
I'd like you to hear why some of these companies have decided to invest in the United States and make big manufacturing.
Okay, good. Would anybody like to say? Go ahead, please.
Mr. President, Chandrasekhar from the group.
Yeah.
First, let me start by following instructions. Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you for making the picture.
Good.
And our group has 10 different companies in the United States. We have annual revenues of close to $25 billion, and we are manufacturing plants in Pittsburgh, and then we have a chemicals plant in Wyoming, and we employ about 42,000 people. And your tax reforms is exceptionally very beneficial.
So which to you is more important, the tax cuts, the massive
It's a combination tax.
or the regulation cuts?
Both.
Because I've had a lot of people in your positions running the biggest companies in the world saying the tax cuts are very important, but the regulation cuts may have been more important.
See, regulation cuts are more important not to start new businesses as well. For example, in our steel business, we have some issues which we represented that will be resolved now. And we run a very large IT company as well in the United States. And we are building the skills. We are trying to work with Ivanka. We want to try and skill 1 million people in the United States.
Oh, that's fantastic. Thank you.
So we are deeply engaged with the company.
I heard that you were doing that, and I really appreciate it, and Ivanka appreciates it. And, she started off, she wanted to get 500,000 people jobs. And if you know her, within about 2 weeks, she had that one done. And I think you're up to over 15 million people being trained by great companies, some great companies. Walmart was very much instrumental in some of the companies in this
Apple,
room.
Salesforce,
Yeah.
so many companies, but the
So it's up
best
to
they
15.
can.
And I don't think government can teach jobs like that. In other words, you teach something and it's complex stuff. Government is not equipped to do that. We can put all the money we want into government to do it, and they're just not equipped to do it. So thank you very much. Fantastic, great story. Thank you. Yes, sir.
Mr. President, you talked about regulations, so I do want to confirm that in 2017, we put up the first automotive assembly plant in Southeast Michigan in 25 years.
Right.
We're making off-road utility vehicles. And the speed with which we could set up the company to get operations going, we have not experienced anywhere in the world. So we've invested about $1 billion, and right now we're in the shortlist of the bid for the United States Postal Service new delivery plan, a decision which may come up by the end of the year. And if that comes through, we're going to very happily put in another $1 billion and employ about 2,000 people.
You've done a great job. So when are the bids due?
We are told sometime around August.
How many vans is it that you'd be making?
About 180,000.
Wow, that's a big business.
So when we were told that, the postal service vans are actually, they're the right-hand drive.
Right.
And they're diesel. So guess who makes right-hand drive diesel vehicles? Well, that's all Indian automakers. So that's why we're waiting for them.
Well, good luck. Thank you. That's good. Yes, sir, please.
So my name is Anil Bhatia, part of the unit. We invested almost $500 million in the pharmaceutical, very sophisticated things like nuclear medicine, allergy. We are present in 22 states, almost 2,000 people. And other thing that we are doing is starting drug discovery in America for oncology. That's a biotech venture for new drugs, especially for therapies which have very limited drugs available. So my question to you is, mainly on the healthcare side, how do you see it for companies like ours coming in from India, setting up manufacturing plants in the States?
Healthcare is very important to the Republican Party, I will tell you. We haven't been talking about it, we've been doing it. We got rid of the individual mandate, which was a disaster in Obamacare, which really ended Obamacare. We're now taking the shell of Obamacare and really running it well. I had a choice. I could run it well, or I could run it poorly. And everybody would be upset, and they'd blame President Obama. We decided to run it well. But we'd like to terminate it and put in great health care. We can do that. When you look at single payer, when you look at what Bernie Sanders and others want to do for the Democrats, it will never work because they're never going to be able to do it. It's not going to work, number one. Number two, it's not going to be good, even if it did work. And it's totally unaffordable, which for you would be a big problem. And I happen to think I've been pretty good at markets. The fact that they are even looking like they're in the hunt, I think drives our stock market down. When we win re-election, I think we will. When we win, I think the market's going to go up like, it's going to be like a rocket ship, like last time, but even more so. I think the fact that the Democrats are so radical, so out of control, they honestly don't know what they're doing. You see what's happening. They want to tell you about healthcare, and yet they can't count their own votes. In fact, now they're even saying that if you look at Nevada, that's all messed up with the vote count, and some of them are questioning the votes, but certainly Iowa I've never seen anything like it, and I've been watching politics for a long time, been involved in it now for a while, and I've never seen anything like it. So, but I think the fact that there's an election coming up, I think, a lot of people think we're going to win the election. I feel we're going to win the election because what we've done for jobs and for the military, for the vets, what we've done for healthcare, is incredible, including giving options to Obamacare at far less cost. Of course, it's much less. But if you look at all of the things that we've done, rebuilding our military, the biggest tax cuts in history, regulation cuts, that brought all you people. That's why you're in the United States, and then you're very happy to be going in with more. But I think until the election is over, people, and it's not just Bernie Sanders, it's others too. I think if people thought that there was a real chance of them getting it, really is going to keep the market down. Now the market's been up 70, 80, 90%, depending on your definition of. You can look at about 16 different definitions, but the country's been incredible. It had one bad day, that was yesterday. Futures are up today a little bit. But if you look at what we've done in terms of the percentage, even taking 1,000 points off, the numbers are incredible. If the other side had gotten in, I think it would have been 50 or 60 points down from where it was. Because the big thing, again, these regulation cuts, they were going to put more regulation in. You were being strangled. Whether it was Keystone Pipeline, Dakota Access Pipeline, 48,000 jobs between the two of them, so many other things. I mean, nothing was getting done, nothing was going to be built. It would take you 20 years to get a highway approved, a small highway. It would take you 20 years to get a roadway approved. And it was out of control. We have that way down, that number is way, way down. And they may not get approved because if it doesn't work from a safety standpoint or an environmental standpoint, we don't want to get it approved either. We're not going to let them have it approved. But it's going to end up taking 2 years, and we're trying to get it down to less than that. And if it doesn't work, at least you can find, how about working on something for 21 years, and you find out that it just got rejected? So half of your working life, of course nowadays with people retiring so early, it's more than half, but half of your working life, you're trying to get it approved. And then after 20 or 21 years, they reject you. They reject 3-2. That happens. It happens. So we've done a real job. But I think that, frankly, until the election is over, our market, it's phenomenal. But our market will jump thousands and thousands of points if I win. If I don't win, you're going to see a crash like you've never seen before. I really mean it. Okay. Anybody else? Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm B.K. Goenka from Western Group. We have invested around $400 million.
Yeah.
And created around 1,500 jobs.
I actually follow you guys, what you're investing.
And thank you very much for clearing the Keystone Pipeline. That was a big thing. Immediately once you become the president, and all the pipes are manufactured in the U.S. And it's a big thing. We are
That's one of the things I said. I put a little note in handwriting. You have to make the pipe in the USA. Right? Yeah. They said, sir, this will take 2 weeks to get. I said, no, it doesn't. You have to. And we had a little problem because they already bought the pipe, right? And that was a little bit, unfair to them, I thought. So we had to let them do what they had to do. But they had bought much of the pipe. And Dakota Access Pipeline was already built, except for the one river area that I freed up for them. So it was great. Well, that's good. So is that what you do?
Yeah, and we are really at home. Absolutely. And after all your tax cut and reforms, it's really a big thing.
Thank you very much. It's very nice. I appreciate it. Thank you for the investment. Yes, sir, please.
Mr. President, congratulations. You're doing an outstanding job in terms of developing the economy and the world too. My name is Mohan Reddy. I represent a company called Sign, a technology company. But more broad sense from a technology industry perspective, this industry has gone through a tremendous amount of transformation. They're now making a large investment in the US, hiring a large hundreds of thousands of people right now. But we still have some challenges in terms of regulatory issues, especially administrative and legislative.
I know that.
So if you can kindly look into that, we'd be very grateful.
Oh, yeah. Now, some of the regulations have to go through what they call a statutory process, where you started to cut, We have the Secretary of Commerce here, and Wilbur knows exactly what this is all about. You have a statutory process, so we're going to cut regulations, but we have to give a 90-day notice, then we have to give 120 days, then we have to give 30 days, and we're in that process now with respect to a lot. No, we're going to cut a lot more regulations. No, and we're going to also have regulation, because I think you need regulation for safety and for environmental. But no president has ever cut anywhere close to what we've done. And I've done it in 3 years, and some of them have been for 8. In one case, is more than 8. But no president has come close. But we are in statutory environments where we have to go. We have one where we have to wait 6 months before we do phase 2, which is, and there's 4 or 5 phases. But they're all in a pipeline to get cut. And there's a certain period in about 7 or 8 months from now where a lot of them are going to be done. When we go through the process, but you've seen a big difference.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Yes. It'll only get better too.
Thank you.
Yes, sir, please.
Warm welcome, President Trump. I'm Mukesh Ambani from the United States.
Good.
We are investor in the United States in the energy sector. We have over
Big one.
7 billion
7 billion.
in the shale gas sector. Of course, we also take the feedstock and bring it to India and convert it into value-added goods.
Right.
That also balances. The other thing is that the United States has been, again, small companies and large companies have been key partners in transforming India's telecom sector. So we've built, in the last 3 years, 4G network, which is...
You're doing 4G. Are you going to do 5G
We're
too?
going to do 5G. And it's all like, we're the only network in the world that doesn't have a single Chinese company. It doesn't have
Put a bid in.
even our 5G will not have. I have to thank you personally for your leadership, not only like what you've done in the US, but it has had rub-off effects on all of us. In India, we could have never imagined that income tax rates have come down, and Prime Minister Modi
They followed us.
followed you. So all of us in the business community are grateful, and I think that also the CFIUS process, like we do acquisitions, grow by acquisitions in the US, and
You're getting approved to it.
Indian companies getting approved, and we hope that will continue for Indian companies, particularly in the energy.
We'll be, because I'm here, but the wrong person gets elected. And everything will come to a halt, and your unemployment rate will go up to 8 or 9, 10, and a lot of bad people will have. And that, it is holding back, there's no question. I think we're favored to win. Somebody said 65%. But 65% means that it's 35% of something that people don't want. And it would be devastating, because the economy's never been as good as this right now. It's being held back by the fact that we have an election coming up. And I don't think there's anybody, frankly, on the other side that's going to be very inspirational. It certainly doesn't look like it. So we'll see what happens. Thank you.
We're all very sure.
Yeah, great job you've done. Yeah. Fantastic. Yes, sir, please.
We are a small company. My name is Sethuram. I am the CEO of a company called Tirumala Chemical. We are putting up a food ingredients plant in West Virginia.
How much?
$70 billion to start with, and for $70 billion to start with, and then going up to $400 billion in a phase map. And the
That's what you can say, that's a small company.
the support that West Virginia government has given us is excellent. We are proud to be there.
It's a great state. Those people are incredible.
The Honorable Governor and Senators have been excellently supporting us. We need a little bit of a banking community support from that area, and we've been discussing with various banks too.
We'll get that done. So you're dealing with the governor?
Thank you.
He's a great governor, actually.
In justice, we have been meeting the Honorable Governor.
We'll get it done.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Thank you
much.
very much.
Yes, sir, please.
Thanks for the opportunity, President. I'm Kumar Birla of the Aditya Birla Group. We've actually made 2 acquisitions in the US in the last 12 years, totaling about $12 billion. First company called Novelis, the world leader in aluminum rolled products, got about 5 large sites across Kentucky, Ohio, Louisiana.
Mostly aluminum, mostly.
Only aluminum rolling.
How's that going? How's it going?
That's been really well.
We helped you a lot, right, with the tariffs?
We just signed an agreement to acquire another company called Polaris, which is also in the same space, aluminum rolling, based out of Cleveland. And I wanted to call out to you and thank you because we got our CPS approval absolutely on time. Polaris is a company that we seek to acquire supplies to the defense space, which is why we acquired CPS approval. And actually got it a few weeks before time from your office. And I want to thank you for that.
You got it very quickly. If I want to eliminate the aluminum business in the United States, we'd be absolutely dead. And the steel business would be dead too. Well, we did, they were dumping steel all over the place, and bad things were happening. And it wasn't good dumping either. It was sand steel, it was garbage. And we got that straightened out, so good. But the aluminum business has made a big comeback. That's good.
And we also have a company by the name of Columbia Chemicals,
Right.
which is the largest producer of carbon blacks. Carbon blacks is the basic raw material for tires and inks and the like, where again we employ about 3,500 people.
So your total investment was 12, did you say?
That's right.
$12 billion. That's a big investment.
$12 billion. Revenue of $12 billion come from the US. We employ about 4,000 people. I must say they're a happy investor because whatever goes on in the government doesn't really impact us. We kind of carry on with work as usual. And I must say that your policy of less regulation, tax cuts, and appropriate protection for domestic companies in China, all of those are doing big things for us.
And it means jobs. And we just signed a deal with China, and they're going to be spending $250 billion a year now in our country. 50 billion will go, 40 to 50 will go to the farmers for the purchase of farmers. China's been, it's going to be a great deal. It's a great deal. We're very happy. They're going to take care of their other problems. I hope but we're going to be, it's going to be an amazing deal. Okay. Thank you. Great job. Yes, sir.
Hello, I'm Sunny Parekh from Infosys. We've made tremendous investments in the US in the past 2 years, about $525 million.
Good.
24,000 employees in the US, 6 new centers in different states. So we're really grateful for all the approaches you put in, President, with the changes that have come in, both on taxes and on regulations. We see the growth, frankly, in your economy to be a tremendous boost for the technology work that we do. We had a very good discussion earlier today, and I'm grateful for the whole discussion.
Well, thank you. Great job. I know your company. Great job. And, we now also have it so money can come in. When your money's offshore, you can bring it in before it was impossible virtually. Both bureaucratically, the rate was so high that nobody would pay. So nothing came in. Now we have billions and billions of dollars. Apple's bringing in $350 billion. And they're building plants. Just like one, they just opened one in Texas, and then they're building another one. And a lot of things are happening, great things. Thank you very much. Please.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you.
My name is Amina Hamid, and I'm from Simla. That's India's third largest pharmaceutical company. We've invested over $1 billion in America. We have 3 plants. We're one of the lead suppliers to the Western program.
Great job. I know what you've done. Great job. So I want to thank you. Go ahead. Let's go. I was just going to say, get out of here, but everyone wants a question. As a young, brilliant businessman, go ahead.
President Trump, thank you for the opportunity. I'm Ritesh. I run Oyo Hotels. It's a young startup. In the last 6 years, we've grown to become a leading hotel chain worldwide. We came in the United States less than a year back. Our aspiration was across the US, there are lots of small hotels which can do with better technology, better investments, run by various communities across the country. In the last 8 months, every day we've opened 1 hotel in the United States. We now manage over 330 hotels, invested over $300 million in the US. But over a couple of years going forward, we expect to invest another $2 billion in the United States. We brought close to 8,000 jobs, and we've signing of Metro Vedanta soon that will bring hundreds of thousands of more jobs to people across Texas, Louisiana, North Dakota, and so on.
Those areas?
Across the United States, but these are the states where we are the most dense.
How many hotels do you have right now?
330 in the US, but worldwide over 40,000.
That is really great. I actually know the company, not such a small company, but good job.
Thank you.
Please.
Last question.
Yes, okay, well, we'll do one, okay, go ahead.
After it is important to speak of Steve, Mr. President. My name is Lakshmi Mittal. We met in Davos. I first
This one is a big one, right? He's a big guy. He's a big player. I know him very well. I've seen him on enough covers, I should know him. How's it going?
Thank you, Mr. President. I know that since you became the president, you saved the steel industry in the United States. And Section 232 has been the big lesson for the rest of the world on how to support domestic manufacturing. And this is what we expect the other countries to learn, that they should support domestic manufacturing, not like China. They support domestic manufacturing to dump steel in the world. Though we have to address the China's overcapacity issues, but I must thank you for what you have done for the steel industry, what you have done for the tax reform, what you have done to reduce regulations. I have never seen the extent of ease of doing the business what we experience in the United States anywhere else in the world. So I must congratulate you for creating the ease of business ecosystem. And that is what you have brought to the country, and that is very important.
As you know, 3 years ago, it was just the opposite. It was one of the worst countries to do business in. You couldn't get approvals, you couldn't get anything done. You were sued on environmental, for environmental reasons, not because of the environment, just because it was a way of stopping the project that would produce jobs. And I'm a big believer in the environment, and I want to take care of the environment, but they were just using the laws, and we don't let that happen anymore. But if it's something that is wrong, you know better than anybody, we stop them from doing it. But you've done an incredible job, and the steel industry was dead in our country, and there are certain industries you can do without, to be honest with you. There are certain industries, we can name a lot of them. But steel you need from the military, and aluminum you need, you gotta have the aluminum. But steel you need probably more than anything else, you have to have it. And the job you've done is incredible. Biggest in the world by far. The job you've done is incredible.
Thank you, Mr. President. We are going to announce about $1 billion investment in Alabama State.
Good, that's great.
And I will request you to come and lay the foundation.
Will you let me know? I'll be there for the groundbreaking.
Sure. Thank
No,
you.
that's great. I know you're looking at Alabama.
Yes.
Right? I know. I heard that. That's great. That's a big plant, and that's going to be the super efficient, super modern. It's going to be a showcase, I hear.
I know that you always know more than I do about my business.
People know about that. That's a great thing for Alabama, and it's an incredible place to invest.
So one last question to you. During your last campaign, you announced $1 trillion of infrastructure bill. So I think that you can introduce this $1 trillion infrastructure bill, which was written by Wilbur Ross and Navarro during the campaign. I think that will further boost the economy of Nigeria.
Well, we are doing things. One of the things we're doing, we're going to be announcing another tax cut in not so long a period of time, largely for middle-income people. Because, we gave them a good tax cut, but we're going to give them a fairly substantial cut. And that gives a lot of money to the consumer. One of the reasons we're doing well, and other countries are not doing well. China's having a hard time. They're all really, not too many are doing well. We're doing better than anybody in the world by far. Is because our consumer is rich now because of what we've done with a lot of things, jobs, but also tax cuts. They have money, and other consumers don't have money. So that's great. It's an honor to meet you again, and it was good seeing you there. And I look forward to seeing that plant go up, but I think you're going to probably be doing numerous plants in the United States.
Thank you, Mr. President. One more comment that I have United Steel Workers Union, which used to be Democrats.
Right.
And after your tax reform, they started receiving bigger checks.
Right.
So now they've all become Republicans.
Right.
So people can feel the benefit of your presidency.
You gave them the bonus. You gave them a piece of the cut, and the rest went into investment.
Yes.
No, it's a great thing. Thank you very much. That's beautiful. Thank you. Okay, final question. Go ahead.
Jai Shroff from UPL. Thank you, Mr. President.
Good. We've been in the US for 35 years. We've made about 25 investments, approximately about 5 billion. Last year we invested 4 billion.
Good.
We're in the agriculture sector. We also do all our global biotech research in the US in agriculture biotech. And I think we're looking forward. The farmers and the agriculture sector really suffered last year. And I think there's a lot of excitement around that.
Yeah, there is.
I think that area is going to help us grow our business and investments.
Well, they were targeted. And I'm not blaming China for that because they want to try and win something. And they were targeted, and they made up the difference, as you know, with the tariffs. It came from China, so they got targeted by China, and then I took money from China and gave it to the farmers. And frankly, they didn't want it. They just want a level playing field. They're incredible people. But they did well, but now they're really doing well because you're seeing the numbers coming out, and it's going to be something very special. Not only that, we have 40 billion coming in from Japan. We have a tremendous amount coming in from the new trade deal that we made with South Korea. And then Canada and Mexico are very, the deal is fantastic.
This is your board bank, so it's really...
This is, that's right. That's right.
When I travel, I talk to them, they love you. So.
And you have a good new head of the World Bank, too.
Yeah.
He's one of
I
our
said
people.
they're your board bank, all there.
Oh, yeah, sure. Well, that definitely. Good, you said the World Bank. That's right. That also. Well, listen, I want to thank you all. Congratulations on your success. We hope you come to the United States and invest more billions. Because I view it not as billions, I view it as jobs. And we have great people, and we have the greatest country in the world, in my book. And by the way, India, this has been an honor to be here. And you have a very special Prime Minister. You have somebody who's very special, and he really knows what he's doing. Somebody said he's such a nice man. Actually, he's a very tough man. But he is a nice man. He can be. He can also be as tough as they come. You know what that means. But he's done a fantastic job, and we work very closely together. And we create jobs here, and he creates jobs over there through yourselves. So again, anything we can do, let us know. Congratulations on your success, and I'm going to say hello to all the people now that work at the embassy, and then we're going to have a little news conference, unless you guys don't want to do it. Maybe you don't have to do it. You can just see what I'm saying. Last time, I did it where I met many prime ministers, presidents, all like the 3 days. I said, well, let's cancel the news conference because I saw these guys every 45 minutes. And when I canceled the news conference, all hell broke out. So we're not going to do that. So 5 o'clock, we'll see you at 5 o'clock. Okay? Thank you, everybody. But that's very serious thing, but we think we're in very good shape in the United States.